The Book of Jubilees, you know the Book of Jubilees got to be wickedness. It's just like the Book of Enoch, except it has even more foolish things in the Book of Enoch. Or maybe I shouldn't put it put it up that bad. I mean, they both are equally as wicked. But let me show you real quick before this thing messes up, because it always seems doesn't mean what it is what it is. I like going, I mean, I'm kind of a scatter. Anybody that knows me know I'm kind of scatterbrained anyway, so I'd rather deal with many different topics anyway. So let's deal with the Book of Jubilees right now. The Book of Jubilees, it says that Abraham burned his father's idols. He burned his father's idols in the Book of Jubilees, but guess what? He smashed his father's idols in the Book of Jasher. So this book contradicts the Book of Asher. Now the whole thing about this is it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about this story. This story is not even in the scriptures about Abraham destroying his father's idols. It's not in the scriptures. But let me read this real quick. And it says right here, and in the 16th year of the life of Abraham, it is in the 4th week, in the 4th year thereof, Abraham arose by night and burned the house of the idols. He burned all the house, and no man knew it. So right here, he burnt all of his father's idols. But let's see what it says in the Book of Jasher about what he did to his father's idols. That right there was Jubilees 12 and 12. Let's go to Jasher chapter 11. It says right here in verse 33 of chapter 11 in Jasher, and when Abraham saw all these things, his anger was kindled against his father. And he hastened and took a hatchet and in his hand, and he came to the chamber of the gods, and he broke all his father's gods. So he broke all his father's gods except one of the gods. Let's keep reading. And when he had done breaking the images, he placed the hatchet in the hands of the great God, which was there before them, and went out. So then it talks about a story about how Abraham lied to his father. He lied to his father, talking about the big God is the one that broke your idols. It said in verse 41, this is where Abraham lied to his father. It said, verse 41, Terah's anger was kindled against his son Abraham. Then he spoke this. Terah said to Abraham, his son, in his anger, what is this tale that thou hast told? Thou speakest lies to me. Because Abraham was lying to his father. No wonder this is not in the scriptures. They got Abraham lying to his father about what he did to his idols. But that's in the book of Jasher and Jubilees. Him burning his father's idols. But they're two different stories. One of them he burned them, one of them he broke them. But as I said before, it has that same lie. We see in the book of Genesis, the Almighty destroyed the earth with a flood because of man, because it repented him with how he made man, not that the angels came down and had sex with humans. That's not it. That's not it at all. But that's what it says according to the book of Jubilees. You go to the book of Jubilees, chapter 7 and 21, it says it verbatim. 7 and 21 says, for on to these three things came the flood upon the earth, namely on to the for the fornication, wherein the watchers against the law of their ordinance went a whoring after the daughters of man, and took themselves wives of all which they chose, and they made the beginning of uncleanliness. So it says, because these three things came the flood upon the earth. The flood came, according to the Book of Jubilees, the flood came because the angels came down and had sex with women. But the Almighty said it in the Book of Genesis that it was because of man. But let's keep going though. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Now, Abraham observed the stars in order to know when it would rain. Now I see a lot of you Hebrews right now, y'all talking about the zodiacs. We gotta examine this stuff. But it says, in the 6th week, in the 5th year thereof, this is Book of Jubilees, Abraham set up throughout the night on the new moon of the 7th month to observe the stars from the evening to the morning, in order to see what would be the character of the year with regards to the rains, and he was alone as he sat and observed. Right here it says, Abraham looked at the stars to figure out what days is going to rain and when is it going to rain. What kind of, well, I got more stuff in the Book of Jubilees. I think you guys like to stargaze anyway. You all into the astrology and astronomy, all that garbage. What is you, an Aries? Motherfucker. But let's go to a place where Abraham kept the Feast of Tabernacles in the Book of Jubilees. Because, of course, if I talk about a book, I'm going to definitely expose it. Abraham, let's go to chapter 16 and 21. Right here, it's talking about Abraham. And he built booths for himself and for his servants on this festival. And he was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles on the earth. You can see this is chapter 16 of the Book of Jubilees. This is talking about Abraham being the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, is that true that Abraham was the first to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles? I don't think so. Now let's go to chapter 18, where it talks about where Abraham celebrated the festivals that was given to Israel. Abraham is celebrating it. Let's go to chapter 18. And Abraham, this is chapter 18, verse 17. Abraham went to his young man, and they arose and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt by the well of the oak. And he celebrated this festival every year, 7 days with joy. And he called it the festival of the Lord, according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. According to as he had ordained and written on the heavenly tablets regarding Israel, and that they should observe the festival 7 days with a joy, with joy of festival. So basically, Abraham is celebrating the same festival to the children of Israel, and we'll see what festivals is talking about. Abraham. Now, this is all the Book of Jubilees. I disagree with it 100%, but I'm gonna show you more. Well, Isaac and Ishmael celebrated the Feast of Weeks. We go to chapter 22. Well, Isaac and Ishmael celebrated the Feast of Weeks. In chapter 22, verse 1, and it came to pass in the first week, in the 44th Jubilee, in the second year, that is, the year in which Abraham died, that Isaac and Ishmael came from the well of oath to celebrate the Feast of Weeks, that is, the feast of the first fruits of the harvest, to Abraham, their father. And Abraham rejoiced because his two sons had come. Now, why is Isaac and Ishmael celebrating the Feast of Weeks? We talk about Leviticus 23. But right here it's showing that Isaac and Ishmael are celebrating those feasts. What else is in the Book of Jubilees? They had the house of Abraham built. Talk about building the house of Abraham. Now, it's talking about a building, but I'm gonna go to a good one where it says that Abraham slept in the same bed as Jacob. Let's go to chapter 22 and 26, and we're going to see Abraham laying in the same bed as Jacob. 22. Okay. I'm gonna read this right here. It says, right before it says, "This house I have built for myself, that I might put my name upon it in the earth, and it is given to thee and to thy seed forever, and it will be named the house of Abraham. It is given to thee and to thy seed forever, that thou wilt build my house and establish my name before Elohim forever. Thy seed and thy name will stand throughout all generations of earth." And he ceased commanding him. So he's talking about building a house to Abraham. I never heard of that house. You know what I mean? We love Abraham. Let me keep reading though. It says, and the two lay together in one bed. Jacob slept in the bosom of Abraham, his father's father, and he kissed him 7 times, and his affection and his heart rejoiced over him. So right here we're seeing Abraham laying in the same bed as Jacob. This is the Book of Jubilees that people try to say was one of the lost books of the Bible. And we got Abraham, and then he kissed him 7 times. You don't lay in the same bed. You know, I can, even if somebody tried to justify the righteousness, you know, their family, they just laying, it's a real big bed or whatever they try to justify it. You know, now he's kissing him 7 times in the bed, according to the Book of Jubilees. Okay, let me see. Now let's see what happened when they woke up the next day. Okay, let me see. Let me read it again. And the two lay together in one bed, and Jacob slept in the bosom of Abraham, his father's father, and kissed him 7 times. And his affection and his heart rejoiced over him. And he blessed him with all his heart and said, "The Most High God, the God of all, the creator of all, who brought me forth from the Ur of Chaldees, that he might give me this land to inherit forever, that he might establish the holy seed. Blessed be the Most High forever." He blessing them after he kissing them. I don't even feel that whole scene sounds like a Greek scene. Sounds like some white people made that up. Let's keep, but we can keep going to chapter 23, where it says when he woke up, when they both woke up in the bed together. Okay, verse 23, chapter 23, verse 2 says, and notwithstanding all this, Jacob was lying in the bosom and knew not that Abraham, his father's father, was dead. And Jacob awoke from his sleep, and behold, Abraham was cold as ice. And he said, "Father, Father," but there was none that spake. and he knew that he was dead. And he arose from his bosom and ran and told Rebekah his mother. And Rebekah went to Isaac in the night and told him. So this is a crazy scene right here, because Jacob is lying, is the one sleeping with Abraham tonight. And then when he's dead and he wake up, he runs to the woman that's supposed to be laying next to him. He said, and he arose from Abraham's bosom and ran and oh, okay, no, wait, okay. He told Rebecca, that's his mother. Okay. That let me get the story straight. But still, you know what I'm saying? He land why you in the same bed? You need to be somewhere else, like Rebecca is. And went to Isaac in the night and told him, and they went together, and Jacob with him, and the lamp was in his hand. And when they had gone there and found Abraham lying dead. And Isaac fell on his face with his father and wept and kissed him. So right here, we're just seeing the part where Abraham is, well, you know, he's laying in his bosom all night. He gave him 7 kisses. I guess the number 7 being significant to a perfect amount of kisses that he gave this man while he was laying in his bosom. This is the Book of Jubilees for you, but we got more lies in this book. Now, listen to this foolishness in the Book of Jubilees, verse 24, chapter 24, verse 6. And it says, and Jacob gave his brother Esau bread and pottage, and he ate till he was satisfied. And Esau despised his birthright. For this reason was Esau's name Edom, on the account of red pottage, which Jacob gave him for his birthright. So the only reason he's called Edom is because he was given red pottage. The pottage that was given to take his birthright was red. So that's why he's called Edom, not because he's red, you know, because the pottage. This is what it says in the Book of Jubilees. It's dumb crap. It's a dumb book. But to continue, that's just dumb. But I just have a question, because the Book of Jubilees says it's evil to do this. I don't think it's evil, but I'm going to get your opinion. We're going to go to chapter 28 and 7. And command thou the children of Israel that they do not this thing. Let them neither take nor give the younger before they give the elder, for it is very wicked. So if you have 2 daughters, if you give your younger daughter away in marriage before you give your older daughter away, that is very wicked. I disagree. I want a brother and sister to show me that that's. But this is what the Book of Jubilees is saying. Now I know it's the custom of the land to do that, but is it against the commandments? No, it's not very wicked to do this. So I disagree with the Book of Jubilees. Somebody prove me wrong. But I'm gonna show a blatant lie. I'm gonna show a lie in this book. Let's go to chapter 30, verse 17, Book of Jubilees, and I can show how this is a lie. Chapter 30, verse 17, it says, okay, it says, for this reason I have commanded them, saying, testify this testimony to Israel, and see how Shechemites fared and their sons, how they were delivered to the hands of 2 sons of Jacob, and they slew them under tortures, and it was reckoned to them for righteousness, and it was written down unto them for righteousness. Now, it tells you that when they killed the sons of Shechem, it wasn't counted to them for righteousness for doing that. We can go to the book of Genesis, chapter 49, where it says Simeon and Levi were scattered and divided and cursed because of their anger in doing that. But the book of Jubilees said it was counting for their righteousness. That they after all the people go circumcise themselves, they after the people all wanted to go circumcise themselves, they killed them. But the Book of Jubilees is saying that's counting them for righteousness. Now I can read Genesis 49:7 to show that it wasn't counting for them for righteousness to do that. And let me do that real quick because I got to show how this is a bunch of lies in this book. Like all the rest of the books, it's kind of crazy, man. But Genesis 49:7 says, "Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, but it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel." So we're going to keep it moving. It talks about Jacob giving Levi the garment of the priesthood. So this is way before. See, the Almighty, He separated the first, your firstborn unto Him, and then the Almighty said, I'm gonna have Levi. Levi is going to be mine instead of the firstborn. I'm not gonna do the firstborn. I'm gonna do Levi. But it's saying right here that Jacob gave Levi the garment of the priesthood. So I guess before that decision was even made, Jacob gave Levi the garment of the priesthood, according to the Book of Jubilees. That's Jubilees 32:3. It says, "And in those days Rachel became pregnant with her son Benjamin, and Jacob counted his sons from him upwards, and Levi fell in the portions of the Lord, and his father clothed him in the garment of the priesthood and filled his hands." And I'm gonna keep going. In verse 8, it said, "He tied all the clean animals and made a burnt sacrifice, but the unclean animals he gave not to Levi his son, and he gave him all the souls of man. And Levi discharged the priestly office at Bethel before Jacob his father, in the presence of his 10 brothers, and he was a priest there." So Levi was a priest before it was before Moses or any of that. All right, according to the Book of Jubilees, he was a priest from Jacob. Let me read that. "And Levi discharged the priestly office at Bethel before Jacob his father, in the presence of his 10 brothers, and he was a priest there. And Jacob gave his vow. Thus he tied to the Lord and sanctified." So Levi is a priest already. Before Exodus, before any of that. In the Book of Jubilees, he's a priest already. All right. Now I'm gonna show you where Reuben raped Bilhah. Reuben raped his basically his mother. Let's read. Not his birth mother. Let's read this though. It's chapter 33:4 where he raped her. Let's read it. 33:4 says, I'm gonna read 33:3. "And he hid himself at night, and he entered the house of Bilhah at night, and he found her sleeping alone in a bed in her house. And he lay with her, and she awoke and saw, and behold, Reuben was lying with her in the bed. And she uncovered the border of her covering and seized him and cried out and discovered it was Reuben. And she was ashamed because of him and released her hand from him, and he fled. And she lamented because his thing exceedingly and did not tell it to anyone." So that's the scene. That's what's going down. He would have been locked up if he, you know what I'm saying? So we just seen a raping in the book. Of course, there's a lot of other little stuff I could show on this false book. Every false book I can go through for at least an hour and a half, because there's so many lies in these books. I don't see how. Well, here go another one. But this is why we afflict ourselves on the Day of Atonement. We afflict ourselves on the Day of Atonement because of how Jacob was mourning for Joshua. That's why the Day of Atonement is all to do with what Jacob did, basically. This is what the Book of Jubilees says is the reason why we mourn on the Day of Atonement. Let's read it. If you don't believe me, this is chapter 34:18. Okay. Now you know this is a lie. You know that 34 and 18. It says, and for this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day that the news which made him weep for Joseph came to Jacob his father, that they should make atonement for themselves thereon with a young goat on the 10th of the 7th month once a year for their sins, for they had grieved the affliction of their father regarding Joseph his son. So right here, another lie in the Book of Jubilees. You see how easy it is to beat up these lies, and these books are so much lies in them. It's ridiculous. I don't see how anybody can believe them. They have to make themselves believe. They have to make themselves believe it. But right here it says the reason that we grieve on the Day of Atonement is not because of our own wickedness, or not because we're not supposed to feel a contrite heart, a broken heart, a contrite spirit, and feel bad for our wickedness and our wrongdoings towards others and towards the Almighty. But we're grieving on the Day of Atonement because Jacob was grieving when he thought Joseph was dead. He wasn't even actually dead, but when he thought he was dead, that's why we keep the Day of Atonement. So we know that's another lie in the Book of Jubilees. Let's see if we can get another one. Okay. Well, it said Jacob killed Esau. I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. I'm gonna read it anyway. Jacob killed Esau. Chapter 38 and 2. I'm not gonna argue this one. Right here, it says, then Jacob bent his bow and sent forth an arrow and struck Esau, his brother, on his right breast and slew him. So Jacob killed Esau, according to this book. But I'm not gonna argue that one. Like I said, I can show you many different lies in here. I don't have to argue little stuff like that. Now, this is a dumb lie, but I'm gonna read it out anyway. I'm skipping some stuff because I don't think it's strong enough. Just like the one I just read, I don't think it's strong enough. But this one right here in chapter 40 and 9. Let me just read this. It basically says, no evil person was in Egypt during the rule of Joseph. Now that's a dumb lie. But it actually says that a couple times. It says, and the land of Egypt was at peace before Pharaoh because of Joseph. For the Lord was with him and gave him favor and mercy for all his generation before all those who knew him and those who heard concerning him. And Pharaoh's kingdom was well ordered, and there was no Satan and no evil person therein. They say there's no evil person in Egypt during the time of Joseph. That just sounds dumb. There was no evil person in Egypt during the time of Joseph. Come on. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it says in this book. Like I said, there's many different lies. I just want to point out, I'll just point out each and every one, No need to elaborate on that. Here go one right here, basically, where Israel entered Egypt in the 4th month. When that's actually a lie. We can go to Exodus 12 and 41 when we came out in the 1st month, and that was 130 years from when we entered Egypt in the 1st month. But it says Israel entered Egypt on the 4th month according to the Book of Jubilees. Like I said, there's many little things I can point out. I'm gonna point that out real quick. It's 45 and 1. And it says, and Israel went into the country of Egypt, into the land of Goshen, on the new moon of the 4th month, in the 2nd year of the 3rd week of the 4th Jubilee. Well, we could see that we went in the first month and we left 130 years. Wait, Israel was 130 when he entered into Egypt. Oh, I said 130. I said it's 430. But no evil was done in the days of Joseph. It repeats that. We celebrate the Passover on the 14th. Well, right here it says they celebrate the Passover on the 14th and ate it on the 15th, according to the Book of Jubilees. I'm gonna read that chapter 49 and 1. Remember the commandment which the Lord commanded thee concerning the Passover, that thou shouldest celebrate it in this season, in the 14th on the first month, that thou shouldest kill it before in the evening, and that you should eat it by night on the evening of the 15th, from the time of the setting of the sun. See, one thing people don't really understand about the Book of Jubilees is that the person that made the Book of Jubilees may have believed that the day started at evening. This is the first book where I believe it's not in the New Testament. The New Testament, they know the difference between day and night. In the Quran, they know the difference between day and night. But right here, it said, I'm gonna read this again. Remember the commandment which the Lord commanded thee concerning the Passover, that thou shouldest celebrate it in the season of the 14th in the first month, that thou should kill it before it is evening, and that thou should eat it by night on the evening of the 15th from the time of the setting of the sun. So they may believe that they say that they eat it by the evening. They should eat it by night on the evening of the 15th. So eat it by night on the 15th. So basically tell you to eat it on the 15th. Okay. Okay. I'm a end this off in a little bit. But I'm gonna show us something else real quick. This is chapter 49 and 12. It said, it is not permissible to slay it during any period of the light, but during the period bordering on the evening, and let them eat it at the time of the evening until the third part of the night. And whatever is left over, all is flesh from the third part of the night and onwards, let it be burned with fire. So right here, it's also talking about between the evenings. I'm gonna read this because this is what people that believe the day starts at evening, they use this phrase between the evenings. That's why they do not want somebody destroying this Book of Jubilees, because when they try to go and lie to the people, when these people come and lie to their congregation, they use the Book of Jubilees. They use this part right here in chapter 49 and 10. It said, let the children of Israel come and observe the Passover on the day of its fixed time, on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings, from the third part of the day to the third part of the night. For 2 portions of the day are given to the light, and the third part to the evening. So when they talk about eating the Passover between evenings, you will never find that in scripture. I remember all these people trying to use between the evening to justify, they think the Sabbath is right now, and it's the nighttime. Now, I'm gonna put one more. I'm gonna do one more. It is chapter 50 and 12. And it says right here, every man who does any work therein, or goeth on a journey, or tilleth his farm, whether in his house or any other place, and whoever lighteth a fire, or rideth on any beast, or travelleth by ship on the sea, or whoever striketh or killeth anything, or slaughtereth a beast or a bird, or whoever catches an animal or a bird or a fish, or whoever fastens and maketh war on the Sabbath, a man who doeth any of these things on the Sabbath shall die. So the children of Israel shall observe the Sabbath. So right here, it said, if you ride a beast on the Sabbath, you shall die. But we see if it's either neither new moon nor Sabbath, why are you riding your beast to go see the man of Elohim? So we know that the book of Jubilees is saying lies about the Sabbath. It's saying lies about the Sabbath, family. So not only did the book of Jubilees have Abraham laying up with Jacob in the same bed, kissing him 7 times with affection. Not only does it have Levi being a priest before it was even a nation, it has Isaac keeping the Day of Atonement. I mean, and uh, the Book of Jubilees is as much garbage as the Book of Enoch. That's why the Book of Jubilees has the same story of the angels coming down having sex with the humans, creating giants that made the earth evil. And I got to get back into that, because not only that, I didn't go into some of the stuff like in the Book of Jubilees, like in chapter 2, the angels control the weather. You know what I'm saying? Just like in the Book of Enoch, they got different angels for different weather and different stuff like that. So they even got that type of garbage in common that I'm not even going into, because it's just like only reason I wrote it down because it's just similar. I just see things that are similar in those same mystic books, because all it is mysticism. You can tell the white man had to put their hand in it because the Zohar. Shalom, shalom. What the heck? I wonder how long I've been muted. Boy. But it's a bunch of lies in this book. Said the watchers defiled themselves with the daughters of man. That's the same thing as in the Book of Enoch. It talks about the angels controlling the weather. That's the same thing in the Book of Enoch, chapter 82. The same thing in the Book of Jubilees, chapter 2. The Book of Jubilees, like I said before, is a bunch of wickedness. But what I want to do is I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna cut this one off. I don't even know what just happened, man, because it seemed like I got muted. I hope that I was able to express all these lies and deceit in the Book of Jubilees. I'll be dealing with the Book of Jasher in a little bit, because there's a bunch of foolishness in the Book of Jasher. They got Isaac being 40 and Rebecca being 10 years old. You know what I mean? So we got some things that we need to deal with when the Book of Jasher. But the Book of Jubilees is as much lies as the Book of Enoch and much lies as the Circle 7 Quran. And I'm gonna get back to the Circle 7 Quran, because we got this Moore Science Temple dude that's on my old videos talking garbage. All right. Shalom, family. I'm hoping to get on the New Testament again. I'm about to get back on the New Testament, because I got a lot to talk about with the New Testament, and I'm gonna get back to the Quran, because nobody really dealing with the Quran. I think our people need to know a little bit more about the Quran, because that's the first thing that people want to say when one of our brothers want to wear a kufi or even say we don't eat pork or something. They want to say we a Muslim, and that's really an insult. Because I mean, I couldn't really pick between Christianity and Islam. Like, they both are very wicked, but at least their books are. And the Moorish Science Temple is so evil. It will tell you that the Ten Commandments are against the poor in the Circle 7 Quran. Now, how is honoring your mother against the poor? How is not coveting your neighbor's things against the poor? How is it's but it will say that type of wickedness. But that's because it's Noble Drew Ali's laws. It's not the Almighty's laws, not the creator of the heavens and earth laws. It's Noble Drew Ali's laws. So you talk about, man, dude, talking about I'm standing on my square and I'm, you know what I'm saying? Well, we want to give all praises to the mighty Yah, and we want to thank Yah for everything, for peace, and for giving brothers another day. If you see all this stuff happening in the news and things of that nature, and the only solution for our people is to keep the commandments. That's why we can show how the Almighty's commandments is superior to everything. His laws are superior to everything. His laws are superior to Islam. His laws are superior to all that mummy nuts, them Egyptologists. We say, well, and then, like I said, I asked the dude from the Moorish Science Temple one question. I said, what's the law of the land? So he answered me. He said, it's the Constitution. So I said, I want to clarify my question. When we're not under this heathen, when we're not under the Gentile who put us in captivity, who has sex with animals and lays in the bed with them and let the animal eat off their plate and kiss them in the mouth, and who, the beast that got us in captivity, when we're not under him, what is the law of the land, my brother? What is the righteousness? What are we going to govern ourselves with? And the Circle 7 Quran dude could not answer me. Only thing he did was defend the heathen. He said, we had white people in slavery longer than they had us in slavery. Like, damn, really? This is what they teach you at the Moorish Science Temple? To try to and talk about, I can't be calling them heathens. Gentile and heathen is synonymous. The hell? But so we can put the Almighty's laws up to anything. But I got a lot to do. I got a lot to present, because only thing I've been doing is studying, and I really haven't been giving out any information. So like I said, today's the Book of Jubilees. I probably went through half the information here. I'm not going to go through it all, because some of the stuff really needs to be explained in details until you get an understanding. But as I said, once again, we'll give all praises to Yahweh for his righteous commandments, his righteous laws, statutes, and judgment. And that's what I can agree with the brothers, even the Messianic brothers and all that. That's what we're gonna promote, the Almighty's laws, statutes, and commandments. And they're better than anything, And that's why I can get any doctrine and show that if it contrary to the Almighty's word, then it's bull, it's BS. And that's basically what I do to everything. What I do to the New Testament, to the Quran, to the Circle 7. And I got the Holy Tablets of Malachi Z. York. So I'm going to be going. I'm at page 118, even though it's like really, literally 1,800 pages. But I'm going through the pages of the Holy Tablets, and it's a bunch of garbage I already got. The Holy Tablets of Malachi Z. York is trash. I need to be dealing with. You talk about evolution, all types of stuff, man. Different aliens and stuff. They're right. Now I'm listening to all these dudes, Young Fair and all that shit. I know where they get all that damn alien bullshit from. that I never want to listen to, talking about aliens and this planet Nebaru and all this stupid shit. I'm reading about the shit now, you know. But yeah, like I said, give all praises to Yahweh because he is the righteous Elohim, the Elohim who declares what is right. You know, and that's one gift that the Moreh Elisha Israel, the late and great Moreh Elisha Israel, has blessed all his students to see, that we can see falsehood, like me going through this book of Jubilees, because anything that's contrary to the Almighty's word, that's opposite of the Almighty's word, is not consistent with the Almighty's word, is a lie. And that's how you can see. So, like I said, all praise to Yah. Hallelujah.